It's Press Pass with Jack Ebling, Mid-Michigan's spirited sports debate. Now let's get talking sports. Here's Jack.
Great evening, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to a Football Can't Get Here Soon Enough edition of Press Pass on Fox 47. The Detroit Tigers, one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball for 10 weeks, suddenly looked like it turned a page back to May with an abysmal 1-5 road trip, losing 5 in a row. And next Saturday, they get to face Tarek Skubal at Comerica Park. Michigan State made it official Wednesday, introducing Western Michigan turnaround leader Dan Bartholomae as its new director of athletics. So far, so good. The Spartans are unbeaten in soccer and football. The Pat Fitzgerald era begins in 12 nights, and excitement is building despite one ranking that has them way below Toledo and Eastern Michigan. The Michigan Wolverines are 13 nights from Kyle Whittingham's debut in Ann Arbor. Jackson Kohler announced that he'll take the court for the BYU Cougars, courts willing, and the Detroit Lions edged Washington in preseason play at Ford Field yesterday, whatever that's worth. Here to talk about all that and more is Team 673, two guys I saw Thursday at the 50th Greater Lansing Sports Hall of Fame induction. Mike Griffith, the unelected mayor of Mason, past president of the Football Writers Association of America, former MSU beat writer, and a Greater Lansing Hall of Famer, now an SEC savant for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and the best part of the Paul Feinbaum show. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jack. Thank you.
Do you have big fun Thursday night, excuse me?
Oh, it was great. It was great to see you and Bob Every, of course, Tom, and of course, Tom Izzo. What a big night it was for Tom Izzo to be inducted into the Greater Lansing Area Sports Hall of Fame. And as Tom said, this is his favorite Hall of Fame because these are his people and he's made it his town.
And you come back every year from Georgia. You never miss. Also back with us tonight, Tom Crawford, Bluebelly Tom, my broadcast partner for 24 and a half years, everyone's favorite East Lansing Wolverine, a brave cancer conqueror, and co-host of the new Jack and Tom Green and Blue video podcast from September 3rd through the Final Four. Tom, you ready for those?
I am ready, and I cannot wait. And it's going to get down to 50 degrees tonight, so football is in the air, guys, at least here in mid-Michigan. So I'm excited about the podcast upcoming. We're going to do some high school stuff, and then Labor Day weekend is my favorite weekend in all the sports because it's college football.
70 podcasts we're going to be doing this fall and winter and maybe into the spring for Michigan State. And you can catch this show on YouTube. If you miss it, you can always go back and check it out at Press Pass with Jack. You watch it that way. We will be right back, and we're going to talk Michigan State football up next. Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for our Belting the Long Ball segment, brought to you by Forest Acres Golf Courses and Golf MSU. Play Acres West, the number 3 rated college course in the country, and enjoy some of the best grass tee practice areas in the Midwest. Call 517-355-1635 to make reservations today.
Vinny swings with confidence. Deep right center field and off the top of the wall. Lofton is going to be waved home, and the throw sails over the relay man, and the leadoff walk turns into the Royals' 6th run of the game. And now Salvi lines it to left field. He's digging for second, and the Royals get 2 back right away and lead 7-5. And that's hit high and deep to right field. John Rave goes off the facing of the bullpen. And the Royals have another big inning today, a 4-run bottom of the 5th.
Unbelievable. Royals don't have that many hitters, but they got 11 runs on a bullpen day. That should tell you all you need to know for the Tigers. Tom, can you remember a more maddening team than the one that just lost 4 in a row, Pittsburgh and Kansas City?
Yeah, they're making their fans plenty mad, and everybody was disturbed with the Chi Sox, swept them. But Kansas City is the worst team in this division, which is the worst division in baseball.
Yeah.
And now I think what we've done, Jack, is just to default back. Okay, Kevin McGonigal, he's an amazing. He just hit his 14th home run. He's an upstarting guy. Max Clark, man, he had some run scoring hits, things like that. This is what I think that Tiger fans are going to shift over to, because this season is over. There's no leadership. Torkelson does nothing.
Yeah.
The bullpen is terrible.
Yeah.
Let me count the ways this team sucks.
Mike, every time the Tigers did something today, Royals bounced back and answered. That's no way to handle a last place team.
No, it's disappointing to see them get swept in Kauffman Stadium like that. Tigers really depleted in the outfield right now, Jack. I mean, there's, it's like Tom said, it is a lost season, and there's really not much more, to say about the time. I know there's a lot of Tigers fans that still get worked up about it, but kind of like this ship has sailed, it appears.
Tom, the trouble started long before Kansas City completed the sweep. And look at this one. They led Pittsburgh 3-1 and gave up 3 home runs. And isn't often you see a pinch hitter have 2 home runs, one in the 7th and one in the 9th. Same guy.
Yeah, that was an amazing stat. Now they're Pittsburgh. You're talking about the Pirates. That's a sub 500 team. And then now watch what we go see moving forward. We got the Blue Jays and you got the Dodgers. The Tigers, being the way they are, they'll probably have a field day with them. And when the majority, that's just the way they are. But in the long run, this team just doesn't have it to get into the playoffs, in my opinion.
Mike, some of the Tigers' gag jobs have been almost incomprehensible. And looking at the odds here, we're talking about 1 in 4.25 million to lose all 5 of those games the way they did.
Yeah, like you said, Jack, I mean, it goes beyond the odds. And, now all you can do is hope for a little success at home. I mean, you're playing a really good team coming up, but you take your victories where you can get them is kind of how I look at it. It's a 1-game season. Now big picture is out of the way. And if you like the Tigers, root for each game. But, yeah, this isn't the year that you're going to hang a banner.
Tom, the Tigers had just won 7 straight road series before this week, and look where they are. They're further back than ever before. Since they started in June.
Yeah, there's number one reason for that. They can't timely hit, and yet how many times do we see the Tigers, getting out of an inning like 1 strike away, 2 out, a couple guys on, and 2 strikes, and boom, all of a sudden the opposition hits a timely hit. Something you want the Tigers to do, but it's always the other team that seems to do it.
Mike, what's the final order of finish in the AL Central?
Oh, Jack, when it comes to baseball, you've seen how the Tigers can get hot or cold. We've seen the White Sox. I mean, I have a hard time believing in the White Sox. They've won 6. I guess they've won 6 out of their last 10, just like Cleveland has. But Cleveland's better on the road. I think I still believe in Cleveland. If I had to guess, I would say the Guardians will win the division.
Wow. Tom, how do you explain what the Tigers have done against divisional foes, and then what they've done against the 6 best teams in baseball? You look at their record here, and then you check them again, and what they're doing against the Brewers, and they sweep the Rays in Tampa. How do you explain that?
I don't know. I've never been a professional baseball player. I know there's 162 games and maybe your focus lingers here and there, but it seems like if you're able to beat a really quality team, you would generate that momentum rolling into a series that's, quote unquote, winnable. But it just happens. The opposite's been doing this all season long, seemingly, for the Tigers. And that's why they've been so erratic, because they lose to teams they should not lose to.
Well, the odds are only 5%, guys. I just checked the odds. Only 5% they make this, 1 in 20. So, again, we don't want to build up any false hope here. We're trying to bring some reality and accurate information.
Well, the idea of getting into the playoffs, there are a lot of teams that they would have to vault.
Yeah.
What happens this week?
Tom?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just it's like Seinfeld. I'm gonna go with the opposite. I think they'll probably win the majority. Just the way they are. Just the way they are. When you want them to go away, they kind of reel you back in. And this is what's happening with this club. And that's why their fans are so frustrated.
Tarek Skubal here Saturday afternoon, coming back wearing Dodger blue.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. And suddenly, a guy who couldn't pitch 85 pitches, according to A.J. Hinch, has thrown 109 and 106 in his last 2 outings with the Dodgers. That's what everyone wanted from him here, going back to the Seattle series. Guys, we saw an amazing win by the MLB leading Brewers this week.
Yeah.
How about that? 22-0. But guys, I don't think I've ever seen a team score 21 runs in the last 4 at-bats. This was a 1-0 game.
Can you believe that? And that's why they're sitting, on top of the NL Central now, with a strong grip on the division right now. You have to look at what Bowers has done for them this year. I mean, 23 home runs. It's a powerful team. They've been in a really strong stretch of late. And, you got to like the way Mizrowski's pitching, of late. So if you're a Brewers fan, which, they were kind of my second team growing up, it goes to show you what a small market team can still do.
Well, and I think that's what fans are going to gravitate towards because it's anti-Dodgers mentality, and they'll go with the Brewers.
Wouldn't it be wild to see Jacob Mizrowski, this 106-mile-an-hour fastball against Skubal in Game 7 of the NLCS? We'll be right back talking football and the athletic director at Michigan State. Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for the big picture, brought to you by Dean Transportation. Dean is hiring caring and dependable people as school bus drivers in many Michigan markets. Be a hero in your community and safely transport children to and from school with Dean. For more information and to apply, visit deantransportation.com/jobs. That's deantransportation.com/jobs.
In fundraising, you actually lead with vision. Right, so if you're just walking around talking about everybody does, we need to generate revenue, right? You lead with vision, and so I think one of the things we all did, not just me, but we all did at Western, is that we created a vision, and then people bought into it. So that's how you found new people. It wasn't these people were already excited about college athletics and about Western Michigan University. They just hadn't been inspired by a vision, and so that's why, again, you heard in my speech. You didn't hear me talk a lot about we're going to do this, we're going to do that with revenue. What you've heard me say is we're going to have a bold vision, it's going to be aspirational, and we're going to ask you to join us.
Why was it the right moment to come here?
It's always the right moment to come here, Connor. And to be honest with you, my kids might say maybe it could have happened a couple months earlier so that they could have gotten into a school. But it starts with the president, right? You've got a president who's dynamic, who prioritizes relationships, who I connected with on a women's soccer sideline. So really, the leadership starts there, and give Jay credit. I mean, what's been stood up here is exciting. It's not done yet. It needs some work, and I'm excited to be able to put my own stamp on it. But the foundation's there.
There you see Dan Bartholomae in his scrum after his introduction Wednesday afternoon, and he'll make $1.3 million as MSU's AD. That's nearly double what he was making at Western Michigan, but less than Jay Batt was making here. Mike, how much do athletic directors mean to school success? We talk about coaches. There you see Bartholomae, his family, in front of Sparty. Can you win without a good athletic director?
Not anymore. It's about a lot of, revenue models and trying to get away from the traditional revenue generation. And, Bartholomae was able to do that at Western, a 473% increase in average annual giving during his time there as the vice president and athletic director, and obviously oversaw a men's hockey championship. But, it's more than just hiring coaches and coaching coaches along. I think now we see the ADs as a partner of the head football coach. Obviously, football is the engine that drives the revenue train. So he's got to work well with his football coach. He's got to be able to make good hires. One of the bigger expenses now for schools is buyouts. Yeah. So the hiring process more important than ever. But right now it's really about getting creative, with generating revenue, which Dan's clearly done.
And there's going to be a split of responsibilities. Right now, John Palumbo staying on, and he is immersed in Spartan Ventures. And that could be changing a landscape for Michigan State financially. But when you think about Dan Bartholomae and what he did at Western, guys, 37 conference championships in 4 years. Western had never had anything close to that. And I asked him if the expectation would be the same here, and he said, why not 38? So very confident, upbeat, enthusiastic. And right now, he has vertical integration and alignment, and everyone is on board. Tom, here's a shot of Dan Bart, as he is often known, with Magic last night. The Irvin Johnson Sr. car show was canceled due to weather yesterday, but the Magic Gala went on. What an incredible event that was. Raised close to $1 million. But Bartholomae is going to need Magic and a lot more, Tom.
Yeah, he is. It's going to be interesting. I mean, he had some pretty good corporate environments down in Kalamazoo. You know, he got Upjohn, he got Stryker, and I'm sure he tapped into those. And you know, is he going to be able to roll those up here? That's an issue. But Mike said it best. It's about fundraising, human resource. But another thing he's got to deal with, the board of trustees.
Yeah,
he's got to integrate himself into that, which has been a problem for all administrators seemingly at Michigan State.
Right. Mike, taking a look at 18 full-time and interim ADs that I have known, starting with Biggie Munn, and for his stroke in 1971, he actually took over back in 1954. But since 1971, we're talking about 18 people in a span of 55 years. That's just over 3 years per AD. It isn't often you see ADs have to wear name tags.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of turnover, and you know that's representative of Michigan State's pay scale in part. You know, people leave Michigan State for better jobs. You know, that tells you something about Michigan State's revenue stream in the past. I wonder if, you know, after this big gift that Michigan State's received, if this is going to enable them to, you know, pay some of their better people and keep them, find people that see Michigan State as a destination job, as I know many Michigan State fans are thrilled that you've made your career in Lansing, you know, and, you know, the books you've written, the stories, the programming. It's great to have someone that's bought in to Michigan State like you. It'd be great to see that in the administration as well, Jack.
There are an awful lot of former ADs here, Mike, who didn't leave for bigger contracts. They left because their contracts were terminated for a variety of reasons. And other than Jay Batt, I can't think of any who got major raises. Jay Batt did, obviously, to go to Kentucky, but most of the others did not. Joe Kearney, who for my money was as good as any AD here, left for better weather out at Arizona State. Tom, what can you tell us about new University of Michigan president C. Sybil Raver coming to Ann Arbor from Vanderbilt?
That she's from Vanderbilt and she's a provost.
Oh, Tom.
Hey, in the interest of full transparency, yeah, I'll be going down to Ann Arbor tomorrow. You know, we got the taste test in the press box and meeting the players and things like that. And I probably, there won't be any dialogue about the president. Trust me. So I don't know. I'm sure it's a good hire that as long as she makes a good AD hire like Michigan State just did.
Yeah.
Then she passed the first taste test right there.
Who is that hire? Who do you want Michigan's next AD to be, Tom?
I have no friggin' idea. I want it non-controversial like the Kyle Whittingham football hire. Make it like that. Make it a safe hire and maybe go out. You know, Michigan's never had an AD that didn't have some kind of prior University of Michigan involvement as a student athlete, whatever. Get somebody fresh, I think would be nice.
You'd rather not have Santa Ono as president, Ward Manuel, Sharon Moore, even Jim Harbaugh. It can move on and turn the page. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Going Green segment, brought to you by Graf Chevrolet and Graf Nissan on West Grand River in Okemos. With 108 years in the automobile business, they'll take great care of you.
as they have on all 8 of my leases and purchases. For new or used vehicles or great service, go green, go Graph.
Starting this thing off with the end in mind, right? Here comes our band, okay?
Pat Fitzgerald from the school of practice everything said that that's what you do after victories. Get used to it. And had the band serenade the team, and they did what they hoped to do many times after games this season. Mike, the 2026 Spartans generally picked to win 4.5 games. Some would tell you 3.5 games. Tom Crawford has said Spartans can win 7 games. What do you see? Where are the victories on this schedule?
You know, they got a chance right out of the gate to prove some people wrong by beating Toledo in the home opener. I don't know, Toledo's a win. Eastern Michigan, I think that could be a win. Northwestern, 3. Rutgers, 4. I don't know what you think about games against Illinois and Wisconsin and UCLA, Jack, but maybe they can get one out of that. I think that a 6-win season should be the goal for Michigan State. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Mike, do you know R.J. Young of Fox Sports?
No, I don't know. Those are interesting rankings.
Well, he ranked every team in the country. It's kind of hard to see all the logos on that graphic, but he ranked all 138. And he has Michigan State 120th. Not only is that one spot below Purdue, it's also well below Toledo, about 50 spots below the Rockets, and roughly 40 below the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Is that tough to imagine?
I think it's almost hyperbole. I don't know if he even believes this. I mean, I understand the point that's being made here, but to suggest that Michigan State isn't one of the top 100 programs in football, albeit a rebuilding year and a new head coach, things can change quickly with the NIL. I like the staff that Coach Fitzgerald has in place. I'm a believer in the culture at Michigan State and the pride. So I don't think that they fall outside the top 75 when all is said and done.
Tom, is it possible we've all been sleeping on tailback Cam Edwards? Last year, averaged nearly 6 yards a carry, nearly 1,250 yards. Fitz thinks that he was as good as any back available in the portal, and maybe beyond that. He's running behind his 6'7", 340-pound offensive tackle, and they won 9 games last year. Is it possible that he could be Kenneth Walker light?
Oh, well, Kenneth Walker light, that's pretty high cotton right there. But I've been hearing great things. I know a lot of former players, or a handful of former players who've been at practice, and Fitz is raving about him. He's sneaky, he's solid, he can hide behind big linemen. That's a position of strength for Michigan State, which doesn't have a lot of positions of strength. Right. But I think running back with him is going to be pretty solid.
Mike, when you hear Pat Fitzgerald talk about just put this guy in bubble wrap, we're good. The idea is, in his mind, this guy wants to be the best back in the country, and Fitz isn't ruling that out.
Well, I don't think there's any problem with aiming high. I think that having a guy like Nick Sheridan as your offensive coordinator is a big positive. I mean, I've known Nick Sheridan for years. He's done a great job everywhere he's been. Mm-hmm. I think when you take a look at what they got out of the offensive line reinforcements. What is it? Murawski, is that how he pronounces his name? And Nick Sharp.
Yeah.
Trent Fraley. These guys all have great size and force up front.
Yeah.
I think this team is more physically equipped than some people are willing to give them credit for, right? But these preseason rankings, these don't mean anything. It's great material. They really don't, Jack.
Guys, let's take a look at a couple of great catches and the receiving core. Everyone is saying the receiving core is a big weakness for Michigan State. Didn't look like it at practice here, and what we might see in Spartan Stadium if the W's start to arrive. They got a guy here named Carson Gulker, who's an all-position player. It reminds people a little bit of Connor Hayward. That'll be interesting to see. Tom, I know this is not your kind of football, but a big match today in Chapel Hill with Michigan State ranked 5th and 6th in the two polls against North Carolina, ranked 7th and 8th. We're going to call this the Kevin Guskowitz Trophy game. And Michigan State winning 3-2, and Myron Bell's daughter, okay? Fantastic again. 2 goals, and she's the returning Big Ten forward of the year. So Michigan State got a bright future. Haven't lost yet in men's and women's soccer. We'll be right back. Looking Michigan next.
Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for Just North of Amazing, brought to you by One North Kitchen and Bar in Jackson, Lansing, and East Lansing. Welcome to a world of great flavors and a great place to have fun. Do your taste buds a favor and stop at any One North for a wonderful time. They'd love to see your smiling face.
I think it's been as good as we could have possibly hoped for. Love our staff. The players have embraced them. The players have bought in. And, it's just a good vibe in the building right now, and the players really believe in what we're doing schematically and process-wise. And like I said many, many months ago, these guys are eager and hungry and willing to work, and that hasn't changed in 8 months.
The last time we're going to see it empty. Take that to heart.
That is the last time you'll see an empty Michigan Stadium this year. You'll see a packed one 8 times. Tom, listening to Kyle Whittingham and seeing what the Wolverines are up to, are they ready to silence the doubters and fool the skeptics?
Well, I don't think they're even focused on anybody but themselves. This team wants to be coached. Most kids want to be held accountable. Last year's team was not held accountable. They would have practice and it's like run it again until we get it right. They just move on with Sharon Moore. And this team is different. Obviously, Jason Beck and Jay Hill, offensive, defensive coordinators, accountability, attention to detail, and fundamentals. That all starts with Kyle Whittingham. I think you're going to see a difference. It's a tough schedule. Look at that schedule, though.
Sharon Moore obviously had more important things on his mind.
Yeah, he did.
Mike, looking at this lineup, most people are saying 8.5 wins. That's the Vegas over-under. Which games will U of M lose?
Oh, boy. Ohio State and at Oregon are the two that jump out as losses to me right out of the gate. I think the Oklahoma game and the Indiana game are the 50-50. So I think Michigan is, and I do think they'll beat Penn State. I kind of like Michigan to win 9 games, Jack, 9-3.
You don't have them in your top 20, right? In the Football Writers Association Super 16?
Yeah, I have it at number 21. There's a lack of stability there. New head coach coming in. I think it could take some time to build some momentum. Yeah. My poll is based on what I think of the team right now, not necessarily my season prognosis.
Yeah.
So, I guess my thought is if Michigan beats Oklahoma, my opinion is going to change greatly because I do have Oklahoma ranked higher.
Tom, the Big Ten and Big 12 have all 9 of the teams that only play 9 Power 4 opponents this year.
Right.
It's kind of odd. All the SEC teams, Mike, are mandated to do that. And then some of these Big Ten teams, including Indiana, schedule is ridiculously easy.
Well, yeah. I mean, and part of the reason that the SEC did that is because they want to be able to leverage the College Football Playoff Committee when it comes to teams, not just with like records, but say you've got a SEC team with 3 losses and you're trying to compare it to a Big Ten team with 2 losses. Now, this year, Ohio State has a very aggressive schedule. You have to play at Texas, so that cancels that out. But in some of the other teams, the depth of the SEC is such when you look at some of the ESPN power rankings, there's 4 or 5 Big Ten teams ranked below the lowest SEC team. And so, when you're playing a lot of 4-quarter games, as the SEC does, it's a lot of mileage for your starters and kind of limits your ability to develop talent. So I think they've added that extra, not just a 9-game schedule to match the Big Ten, but also another Power 4 opponent to get the upper hand in the eyes of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee.
Mike, taking a look at that Super 16 and what some of the best writers in the country said, you have Notre Dame winning the national championship, correct?
I have Notre Dame as my preseason number 1 and Texas as the number 2. You based on the talent, like both teams' quarterbacks a great deal. You could say the same for Oregon and Ohio State. Georgia as well, I would guess. I like to transfer at Miami quite a bit, Mensa. Miami does play at Clemson this year. Clemson's one of my teams that I think is going to surprise and perhaps make the playoffs. So, I don't see anything too outlandish. I do have Ole Miss a little bit lower than that. I've got some questions about Pete Golding's ability to lead. We'll see how it plays out, but you throw a blanket over those teams, and in the end, you say the top 12 are going to make it. And as Miami proved to us last year, they were the last at-large team in. Those teams are capable of winning with the parity that we have today in college football.
Tom, the Michigan basketball team got off to a terrific start. European tour. I saw that score at the half, and I said, I've seen this Lithuanian team play. This is Lithuanian national team. And they're one of the better teams in the world. And then the second half, apparently, they woke up, and it was a very different game. But I'm sure a lot learned by the Wolverines.
Yeah, 12 up at halftime, and they lose by 12, and they got stuck on 71. Embarrassed to say, I watched most of the game on YouTube. I mean, I'm sitting here in August watching college basketball. Wanted to see Brandon McCoy.
You look good. Yeah,
he looked pretty good.
Mike, what's your take on Jackson Kohler committing to BYU and could have gone to Kentucky, could have gone to Kansas? There was no opportunity for him at Michigan State, and he realized, he said, I can't do that to Cam. How about Cam Ward? But he's going to be playing close to home. And do you think that this is actually going to happen? Now the courts are going back and forth.
Well, there was a lawsuit filed, and, you've seen some guys that, that there's an injunction in place.
Right.
It was interesting that when the NCAA passed the 5-for-5, they did not include the 2022 class, grandfather them in. I think you had to wonder about that part of the legislation. But for now, things are solid, and I think BYU is a fine place. They have a lot of NIL money and a competitive program as well, Jack. I don't take issue with that at all. Like you said, closer to home.
We'll be right back talking Lions.
Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for our Law of the Jungle segment, brought to you by Gray Wall Law. With more than 100 years of combined legal experience, Graywall Law, PLLC, delivers expert guidance and trusted advocacy. Their skilled team is committed to justice, offering compassionate, results-driven representation. That's Graywall Law, a great choice for professionalism, dedication, and proven success.
He's taken Miller, a lot of experience. 3rd and 3 off the mesh. It is Dobbs. He carves the lane, and he is out of here. Down to tie the game, and now Altmaier, the native of Starkville, Mississippi, is on the roll. He pats the ball, he throws it, and he's got a first down. It is Tyler Conklin. First half, call it 3rd and 5. Here comes Moore on the edge. He got there, Derek Moore. The ball is out, and it's picked up by Washington. It is Nicholas Petit-Frere on the ball. His proclivity for being an astronaut. But did you know, and this is a prize for sticking around. Ball is down on the deck. Nobody's got a hand on it, and let's see.
Great start for Derek Moore, Michigan product, second-round pick, who did not play in the first preseason game, but you see the strip sack, and then the big turnover that iced the 17-13 win over Washington. Mike, what do you make of Josh Dobbs? He had 2 early turnovers, including one for a touchdown, but then he had the long run. Is he a guy who's going to be the Lions' backup quarterback?
I mean, he could be. I covered Josh at Tennessee and think a lot of him. I think he's an excellent quarterback. He is a runner. I remember covering Tennessee. A lot of people wondered why Alvin Kamara didn't get the ball more, and it was because Josh Dobbs was actually a better runner in college. So he's an exciting runner. I know he has a strong arm. He's certainly a character guy. Now, I'll say this about Luke Altmaier. He impressed me the most out of the quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. So it's a good competition to have and a good problem to have, I guess, that you have 2 guys very competitive. But, Jack, you're asking the wrong question. This is really – you may ask Tom the tough question here. He's got all the notes. But the defense in the back 7 – that's really the question about the Detroit Lions this season.
Yeah, well, if they keep drafting SEC corners who get suspended, then that's kind of what happens. Tom, what's your take on Luke Altmaier? Did some great things at Illinois. We sleep on the Fighting Illini, but they won 17 games, 19 games, the past 2 years, and that's the most in Illinois history with Altmaier at quarterback.
Yeah, first of all, I'm notes free as I respond to this, Mike. So Luke Altmaier is a good college quarterback. I can between when Mike talking about Josh Dobbs, Luke Altmaier, Josh Dobbs, he's the guy. He's a threat. But we're talking backup quarterback. I think J.J. McCarthy would be a better backup quarterback. Why don't you probably can't afford him in there. I don't like the backup quarterback situation for the Lions. I cringe if they had an injury to their number 1. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, some people looked at Altmaier and they said kind of looks like Purdy out in San Francisco when he was at Iowa State, and no one expected much of him either.
Yeah.
Mike, looking at the Lions' 4th place schedule, pretty soft until they get into December, and then 3 road games there. But how many games do you see the Lions winning? Rico Beard and I have a big bet on this for a dinner.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you're including Buffalo as one of the soft games, but certainly New Orleans, the Jets,
that's the only tough one in the first 2 months.
Arizona's a curious team. It's a long road trip as well. I feel pretty good about 11 wins this season, Jack.
Okay, all right. That would cover. I'll take it. We'll be right back with our weekly awards up next on Press Pass.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Lansing's Best segment, brought to you by the Lansing Sports Commission. Bring thousands of athletes and teams to Mid-Michigan for hundreds of tournaments and special events. Hats off to the LSC for showing just what this area can be. Plan on something greater.
White Sox. As Rogers lifts this one in the air to left center field. It's going back it goes! Let's go! Jake Rogers walks it off for the White Sox in his signature moment here in Chicago. And the Sox come back from 4-0 and walk it off in the 9th.
Jake Rogers. Tigers have to watch that if they finish one game out, which I don't think is going to happen. All right, Team 673. Time for our weekly awards. Mike Griffith, let's start with you and our play of the week.
Well, we've already talked about Josh Dobbs. It has to be that 50-yard run. I know it's only the preseason, but it's exciting when Josh hits the open field. I saw him make a lot of plays like that at Tennessee. Again, he's a fascinating person, an aeronautics engineer degree, and a fantastic backup quarterback, Jack.
One of the smartest guys in the National Football League. Tom Crawford, what about our team of the week?
Team of the week, all the recipients of the Greater Lansing Sports Hall of Fame awards on Thursday. The stellar speeches, they were great, all worthy, nice cross-section. The committee did a terrific job in selecting them.
Yeah, 50 years, hard to believe, and we had 3 guys there who were original charter inductees, if you can believe that. Walt Lingo, Jim Senadinas, and Dean Luck. Great job, gentlemen. I'll finish up with our players of the week. I have to salute Pete Crow Armstrong and Randy Arozarena. You see there, 2 of just 3 players in Major League history to homer on the first pitch their team saw and the last pitch their team saw, a walk-off homer. That's pretty amazing stuff. And I want to flash back 50 years. And a couple of people, I don't recognize the skinny guy on the right. That sure looks like my wife, Robin, on the left. 50 years ago today, gentlemen, at Kensington Metro Park. And just to prove to Rico Beard that my wife does exist, we have a shot of her today. And celebrating 51 together. And Tom, you've got one coming up, right?
Yeah, same day. Well, I'm just 10 years behind you, Jack. So we both overachieved.
Yes, indeed. Want to thank our panelists, Mike Griffith of Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Blue Belly Tom Crawford. Have a great week, everyone.